This is TechCrunch. In the long history of hacking, there have been numerous data breaches that, years or even decades later, remain unsolved. Countless hackers and hacking groups behind them have never been unmasked. But prolific hacking groups do get caught, and this is true whether they're cyber criminals such as Lapsus, a notorious extortion gang that compromised companies such as Microsoft and Nvidia, and that have had multiple members arrested, or sophisticated government hacking groups from Russia and China, whose members have been named, indicted, and placed on most wanted lists. Still, some of the most fascinating cases in cybersecurity history remain wide open. No culprits, no answers, and in some cases, not even a clear motive. So TechCrunch decided to revisit several of them in a series of articles, starting with one of the strangest episodes in the history of intelligence leaks. The first installment centers on the shadow brokers, an enigmatic group that surfaced online, dumped a trove of hacking tools believed to belong to the NSA, and then vanished. So in the summer of 2016, in the midst of the Russian hacks related to the U.S. presidential elections, the group appeared on Twitter. They linked to a Pastebin post and mentioned several news outlets, a strange and effective strategy that meant most of those outlets likely never saw the tweets. But if anyone had clicked on the link, they would have seen a document titled Equation Group Cyber Weapons Auction Invitation, a reference to the shadowy hacking operation widely believed to be run by the NSA. The hackers wrote, claiming to have hacked the Equation Group, "Attention government sponsors of cyber warfare and those who profit from it. How much you pay for enemies' cyber weapons." Now, the document included links to download some hacking tools, as well as a link to download an encrypted file that interested buyers could decrypt by making a bid. They wrote, "Auction files better than Stuxnet," referring to the famous malware used against Iranian nuclear facilities in a U.S.-Israeli cyber attack in 2007. They asked for at least 1 million Bitcoin. The leak quickly attracted press coverage, and once security researchers analyzed the tools, they realized these were exceptionally sophisticated cyber weapons, very likely stolen from the NSA, a suspicion bolstered by the fact that some shared names with programs revealed by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. The auction was likely a ruse, since the group eventually dumped many of the tools publicly months later. Much about the shadow brokers made little sense. Their broken English was almost comical, as if they were either trying too hard or deliberately signaling the artifice. Despite clearly seeking attention and getting plenty of press coverage, the group only spoke to a journalist once, giving a brief interview to 404 Media's Joseph Cox, then a reporter at Vice Motherboard. 10 years later, we know literally nothing about who was behind the shadow broker's persona. Now, there was a thought that an NSA insider or former insider could be involved, but nobody has ever been arrested and charged. Extraordinary, given this was arguably one of the worst leaks of U.S. intelligence hacking tools ever. Now, one potential suspect was Harold T. Martin III, an NSA contractor arrested for stealing classified information from the agency. But the theory has a problem. While Martin was in custody, the shadow brokers remained active online. He has never been formally charged in connection with the leaks. The most widely credited theory is that the shadow brokers were created by a Russian government spy group as a propaganda tool. The impact was massive. Among the tools released, the shadow brokers published Eternal Blue, a family of zero-day vulnerabilities targeting Windows that allowed hackers to break into computers on a hacked network, rapidly expand their access, and deploy self-propagating worms. Zero-day vulnerabilities are flaws unknown to the software maker, meaning no patch yet exists. North Korean hackers used Eternal Blue to unleash the WannaCry ransomware worm. Russian hackers later built it into NotPetya, which spiraled beyond its initial Ukrainian targets and caused an estimated $10 billion in damages globally. For businesses, the lesson was stark. Vulnerabilities hoarded by intelligence agencies do not stay secret forever. And when they leak, the private sector pays the price. The trove is still yielding discoveries. Among the leaked tools was one containing a list of project names, including one called Fast 16, flagged only with the label, "Nothing to see here, carry on." Last month, researchers announced they had located and examined it, finding malware dating to 2005, designed to tamper with software allegedly used by Iranian nuclear scientists. Well, since we're talking about hacking, security researchers say a March breach of the Los Angeles transit system was the work of Iranian-backed hackers. Israeli startup Gambit Security said in a report on Tuesday that the hackers work for Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and State Security. Reuters first wrote about the Gambit report. A hacktivist group calling itself Ababil of Minab claimed responsibility for the earlier hack, saying they stole and then deleted data from the LA County Metropolitan Transportation Authority's systems. Now, the group's name is a reference to the U.S. airstrike on an Iranian school in the city of Minab that killed more than 175 people, mostly children. Gambit said that this is not a new, standalone hacktivist crew, as they claim. Gambit said its claims are based on forensic evidence that ties the group to a previous Iran-linked campaign, as well as activity attributed to the Iranian State Security Service. Gambit said it investigated other attacks against companies in Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. Now, if Gambit's assessment is correct, Ababil of Minab would be the latest in a series of fake hacktivist groups that are working for the Iranian government. The most recent example is Handala, which earlier this year hacked U.S. medical tech giant Stryker, wiping thousands of company systems and employee devices. Following the Stryker breach, the FBI seized 2 Handala websites, and the U.S. Justice Department accused Iran's government of being behind the hacktivist group and its attacks. Iranian-linked hackers have increased their activities and their claimed hacks after the U.S. and Israel started bombing Iran earlier this year. In April, a coalition of U.S. agencies warned that Iranian hackers were targeting American critical infrastructure. That's all for now. For the latest tech news, go to TechCrunch.com.